The hidden cost of loneliness after 60 and how to rebuild connection. The quiet space that starts to grow. Loneliness doesn't usually arrive all at once. It builds quietly. A few less conversations, a few more silent evenings, fewer reasons to go out, fewer people checking in. And over time, that silence starts to feel heavier. Not always painful, not always dramatic, but noticeable. You can be surrounded by people and still feel alone. Because loneliness is not only about how many people are around you, it is about whether you feel connected, whether you feel understood, whether you feel remembered, whether you feel seen. And the hardest part? Many people do not talk about it. They say they are fine. They stay busy. They tell themselves this is just part of getting older. But loneliness after 60 is not something to ignore. Because it does not only affect your emotions, it can affect your body, your brain, your sleep, your energy, and even your long-term health. Loneliness is not a personal weakness. It is a human signal, and signals are meant to be listened to. Part 1. What loneliness really is. Loneliness is not the same as being alone. Being alone can be peaceful. It can give you space to rest, think, pray, read, garden, walk, or simply breathe. Solitude can be healthy, because solitude is chosen. Loneliness is different. Loneliness is the feeling of being disconnected, the feeling of not being understood, not being emotionally reached, not having someone who truly notices your inner world. You may live alone and feel peaceful, or you may live with others and still feel invisible. Because loneliness is not only physical distance, it is emotional distance. It is the gap between the connection you have and the connection you need. And after 60, that gap can become more noticeable. The house may feel quieter. The phone may ring less often. The calendar may have more open space. And slowly, loneliness can whisper, "You do not belong the way you used to." But that whisper is not the truth. It is a signal that your need for connection deserves attention. Part 2. Why it becomes more common after 60. Loneliness becomes more common after 60 because life changes. Children grow up, they move away. Friends retire, relocate, become ill, or pass away. Work environments disappear. And for many people, work was not just a paycheck. It was routine, conversation, purpose, a reason to get dressed, a reason to leave the house, a place where people expected to see you. Even small interactions mattered. The morning greeting, the quick conversation, the shared laugh, the feeling of being part of something. When that structure disappears, a person can feel unanchored. And without built-in connection, you have to create connection yourself. That sounds simple, but it is not always easy. Because rebuilding connection after 60 requires energy. It requires courage, and sometimes it requires stepping into spaces where you may feel uncertain. You may think, what if I reach out and they do not respond? What if everyone already has their circle? What if I feel awkward? These fears are real, but they are also common. Many people are lonelier than they admit. Many people are waiting for someone else to reach out first. Part 3. The hidden cost. Loneliness is not just emotional. It affects the body. When you feel disconnected for long periods, your nervous system can begin to act as if you are unsafe. Not in a dramatic way, but in a low-level, ongoing stress state. Human beings are wired for connection. For most of human history, belonging to a group meant safety. It meant protection. It meant someone would notice if you were sick, missing, or in danger. So when the body senses long-term disconnection, it may interpret that as vulnerability, and that can affect stress regulation. Your sleep may become lighter. Your mood may become more fragile. Your energy may drop. Your thinking may feel foggy, and your immune system may become more strained. This is why loneliness is now treated as a serious health issue, not just a sad feeling. Studies have linked loneliness and social isolation with higher risks of depression, cognitive decline, heart disease, stroke, dementia, and premature mortality. That does not mean every lonely person will become ill, and it does not mean you should panic. But it does mean loneliness deserves respect, because the body keeps score of disconnection, not as punishment, but as biology. Connection helps regulate the human system. A calm conversation can lower emotional intensity. A familiar voice can remind the body, you are not alone here. That is not just sentimental, that is physiological. Part 4. How loneliness affects the brain. Loneliness also affects the brain, and this matters deeply after 60. The brain needs stimulation, it needs conversation, it needs memory cues, it needs emotional exchange, it needs social feedback. When you talk with another person, your brain is doing many things at once. You listen, you remember, you respond, you read tone, you choose words, you regulate emotion, you adjust to the rhythm of the conversation. This is a full brain activity. It is not just social, it is cognitive. That is why meaningful conversation can help keep the mind engaged. But when loneliness becomes chronic, the brain may receive fewer of these signals, fewer conversations, fewer shared stories, fewer reasons to plan, fewer chances to respond emotionally, and slowly, the mind can become less active, not because it is incapable, but because it is underused in certain ways. This is one reason social connection is often linked with better cognitive and emotional health. Connection gives the brain warm friction. It asks the mind to think, respond, remember, care, laugh, listen, share. A lonely brain may become quieter, but a connected brain receives signals of life. Part 5. Why loneliness can drain energy. Many people think loneliness only affects mood, but loneliness can also affect energy. You may feel tired, even if you did not do much. You may feel heavy, even after resting. You may lose motivation for things you used to enjoy. This can happen because disconnection can place the body in a subtle stress pattern. When the nervous system does not feel supported, it may become more guarded, more withdrawn, more tired, and emotional heaviness can become physical heaviness. That is why ordinary tasks may feel harder. Cooking, for one, may feel pointless. Going for a walk may feel less inviting. Getting dressed may feel like too much effort, not because you are lazy, but because humans draw energy from meaning and connection. When life feels connected, small tasks feel more worthwhile. When life feels disconnected, even simple routines can lose their spark. This is why rebuilding connection matters. A weekly call gives the week shape. A walking group gives the body a reason to move. A class gives the mind something to look forward to. A shared meal gives nourishment a social rhythm. Sometimes healing begins with one reason to look forward. Part 6. Why it is hard to fix. Here is the honest part. Rebuilding connection is not always simple, because loneliness often creates the very thoughts that keep people isolated. You may think, I don't want to bother anyone. It's too late to build new relationships. People already have their circles. I won't know what to say. These thoughts feel real, but they are not always accurate. They are often loneliness speaking. Loneliness can make you withdraw, and withdrawal can create more loneliness. It becomes a loop. The less you reach out, the harder reaching out feels. The fewer places you go, the more uncomfortable it feels to go somewhere new. And after a while, isolation starts to feel safer than trying. But safer does not always mean healthier. Sometimes the comfort zone becomes a cage with soft walls. You do not notice it closing in at first, but over time, the world gets smaller. So rebuilding connection requires gentleness. You cannot shame yourself into connection. You start small. One message, one conversation, one familiar place, one repeated routine. That is how the nervous system begins to trust connection again. Part 7. Connection doesn't have to be big. This is where many people get it wrong. They think connection has to be deep, frequent, perfect, or dramatic. It does not. Connection can be small. A short conversation with a neighbor, a kind exchange at the grocery store, a shared laugh in a class, a text message, a phone call, a simple check-in. These moments still count, because your body does not only respond to major relationships, it also responds to small signals of belonging. These are sometimes called weak ties. The familiar people who are not close friends, but still make the world feel more human. The person at the coffee shop, the walking neighbor, the person from church, the cashier who remembers your face. These small connections remind the brain, I exist in a social world. I am recognized. I am not invisible. And after 60, that matters, because not every relationship has to carry the full weight of your emotional life. Sometimes healing begins with lighter connections, simple, friendly, low pressure, repeated over time. That is often how deeper connection begins. Part 8. How to rebuild connection. Let's make this real. First, start where you are. Do not try to rebuild your whole life overnight. Start with one person, one interaction, one small step. Send one message, make one call, say yes to one invitation. One step is not small when it breaks the pattern of isolation. Second, reconnect before you expand. Sometimes there are people already in your life who have simply drifted. An old friend, a cousin, a former coworker, a neighbor. You do not need a perfect message. You can simply say, I was thinking of you today and wanted to check in. That is enough. Third, create regular touch points. Consistency matters more than intensity. A weekly phone call, a Sunday walk, a monthly lunch, a class every Tuesday, a volunteer shift. The brain loves rhythm. The nervous system loves predictability. When connection becomes part of your routine, it stops feeling like a big emotional project. It becomes part of life again. Fourth, be open to new environments. Community groups, libraries, faith communities, walking groups, gardening clubs, learning spaces, volunteer programs, creative classes. You do not need to walk in and become best friends with everyone. Just show up. Let people become familiar. Let your face become known. Connection often grows through repeated exposure. Fifth, allow imperfect connection. Not every interaction will be deep. Not every person will become a close friend. Not every group will feel right. That does not mean you failed. It means you are exploring attempt right. It is built by staying open after imperfect attempts. That is quiet courage. Part 9. The role of your mindset. Mindset matters, because the way you describe your situation can shape what you do next. If you keep saying, I am alone, your brain may hear that as a final identity. But if you say, I am rebuilding connection, that gives your mind direction. It says, this is not the end. This is a process. I can take a step. Instead of, nobody calls me, try, I can reach out to someone today. Instead of, it's too late, try, it may feel awkward, but it is not too late. Instead of, I don't belong anywhere, try, I'm looking for places where I can belong. These are not magic words. They are not denial. They are direction. And direction matters when you are trying to climb out of a quiet place, because the mind follows the story it repeats. So tell yourself a story that leaves room for change. Part 10. What happens when you start reconnecting? Slowly, things begin to shift. Not instantly, not perfectly, but steadily. Conversations feel easier. Your energy may improve. Your mood may stabilize. Your days may feel less empty. Your sense of belonging may return. And your body may begin to relax. Because connection tells the nervous system, you are not carrying everything alone. Supportive relationships do not remove every problem, but they help the body feel accompanied. And being accompanied changes how stress feels. A worry shared with the right person can feel lighter. A quiet house can feel less heavy when there is something on the calendar. A lonely week can soften when someone remembers to call. This is not about having a perfect social life. It is not about being popular. It is about having enough meaningful connection that your system feels supported. Enough connection that you feel seen. Enough connection that life does not feel like it is happening in silence. That is the goal. Not constant social activity. Meaningful belonging. Part 11. A gentler way to approach connection. You do not need to force friendships. You do not need to overextend yourself. You do not need to become someone different. You do not need to fill every day with people, and you do not need to pretend loneliness disappears overnight. You just need to stay open, stay willing, stay engaged. Start small, repeat often. Let connection grow naturally. One gentle way to rebuild connection is to attach it to something you already value. If you enjoy walking, find a walking group. If you enjoy gardening, visit a community garden. If you enjoy learning, take a class. If faith matters to you, return to a spiritual community. If you love animals, volunteer somewhere that needs help. If you care about younger generations, mentor, teach, or share your experience. Part 12. You're not meant to do life alone. Loneliness is not a personal failure. It is a life phase, and, like any phase, it can change. You are not weak because you miss connection. You are not needy because you want to be remembered. You are not failing because silence feels heavy. You are human. Your body responds to connection. Your mind responds to connection. Your emotional system responds to connection. We may need solitude. We may need independence. We may need quiet. But we also need contact, warmth, recognition, memory. Someone to witness the ordinary moments. Someone to say, I understand. I remember. I'm glad you're here. And even small steps can begin to restore that. Because connection is not something you lose forever. It is something you can rebuild slowly, gently, honestly. One conversation at a time, one routine at a time, one brave little yes at a time. You do not have to rebuild your whole social life in one day. You only have to begin opening the door again. Connection can be rebuilt. Loneliness does not mean your story is over. It does not mean you are forgotten. It does not mean you have nothing left to give. It means your life is asking for connection again. Not perfect connection, not constant connection, real connection. The kind that helps your nervous system breathe. The kind that gives your mind something to engage with. The kind that reminds your heart you still belong. So start small. Reach out once. Show up once. Say yes once. Begin again once. And then repeat. Because connection is not rebuilt through pressure. It is rebuilt through presence. And in the next episode, we take this one step further. How to build meaningful relationships after 60 without feeling like you have to start over. Because connection is one thing, but depth is something else entirely. Until then, stay re-inspired.
I hope this video brought you value and re-inspired you. If so, please subscribe, hit like, and leave a comment. And if anybody you know could use a little re-inspiration, please send it to them. Thank you so much for watching.